Hi guys, welcome back. The last thing that we did was to go ahead and assemble an average ionic column. And we did that over here in our scratch space. So if you had a little bit of issue with that, just watch that video a couple of times, it's okay. So we're going to take these columns that we had added previously, that I already made, and what I've done is I've just drawn them in place near one of my other porches. You can see they're not actually inside of that porch. Keep in mind that porch is a component. So anything we do to one of them happens to all of them. So if I take these guys and I put them into my porch component, they should be put into all of them. So I should see them show up. And that's the first thing we're going to try to pull off today. I'm going to add my columns into each one of my porch components, and then I'm going to make some modifications to my porch components. One, I don't have any space here for the steps, and nothing is really sitting on the ground. You can see we drew everything off of this corner, but because this structure is built on a hill, nothing's actually touching the floor yet. When I look at my porches, they actually have this side wall. So we're going to do a couple of things to the porches to dress them up, and we're also going to add some fancy molding onto the top, and then this wraparound molding that goes along the top edge of the porches onto the corner of the buildings. So we're going to use the Follow Me tool for that, and then we're going to just be doing the Extrude tool for the bases. So let's go ahead and start dealing with these porch massings first. So let's take these porch massings, and we know that they actually have this side wall. We also need space here in the middle for the stairs. So what we're going to do is actually take these porch components and push this guy back as far as it will go. So let's say let's leave them there, and let's push them back so that it's just barely peeking away from the wall. And we'll start there. So let's take a look and see what that leaves us. And that's not too bad. We'll deal with that. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and find a way, and we're not dealing with these columns right now, so let's hide them. What I need to do is I need a sidewall to come down on each side. So let's go into this porch component, and let's just draw a rectangle. We don't need to make this perfect right away, but we'll just start with a rectangle. Now I want a wall of equal depth on this side. So let's just double click and let's copy that rectangle on over. So hit the move tool like we've done so many times, tap control. We'll grab this corner and then we can actually slide that guy so that he pulls all the way to the side. And now we know that if we pull this down, each one of these walls will be the same depth. So if we take a look, we're getting pretty close there. But what I want to look at is I can see where it stops right here on that corner. So what I'm going to do is I want the opportunity to push this backwards a little bit. But if I push now, I push the whole thing. So I need to kind of chop this into chunks. And I'm going to do that by pulling a line to the side and pulling a line to the side. And now I can go ahead and push this side in without this whole top section going in as well. So let's go back to our image. And I'm watching two things. I'm watching what I can see on this side, and I'm going to watch and see what I can see on this side. So if I grab this guy, because if this is a duplicate, I should be able to see that pull in when I'm adjusting the component too. So let's grab him and pull him in, and we can see that looks like it's lining up pretty close. Feels like we should have it out a little bit, but if we have it out a little bit, it's out too far on the right hand side. So let's push it in a little bit. And let's do the same thing on this side. And now, instead of pushing it backwards, let's try to just make it skinnier. So if we just pull that side in, now it feels like it fits pretty well. We'll do the same thing on this side just by double clicking. And if we take a look at our porch now, that's looking pretty good. What we need to do now is put this little archway in. We'll deal with that in a second. And then we'll go ahead and we'll start adding out these walls that will eventually become the staircases. So let's go ahead and go back into our porch. Let's draw a line again, and let's pull out this base section to where it lines up with that wall that we just pulled out, because we know we have to have some type of structure underneath that staircase. So let's pull this out to where it lines up with these walls. You can see what I'm talking about here. We know that we have the stairs. We'll start stair stepping down from here, but there must be something underneath that porch. So we'll pull him out. And now, instead of working on this one, we're going to work on this one. They're all the same. Everything is the porch component. So we're just going to double click here. And what I'm going to do for the sake of this one is I'm going to, let's see if that's right in the middle or not. Let's find the middle of this edge. It's right there. Okay, let's draw a line straight up in the air. Now, if we rotate our view down, is that right in the middle? And it's pretty darn close. So we're going to go ahead and use that as our guide. Now, it might not be perfect, and that could be a couple of things. One, maybe we made a small mistake earlier on. Or maybe our photograph was slightly distorted because of lens flare. But what we're going to do for the sake of our model is we're going to go ahead and model this as though we're correct. We're going to proceed with confidence. So I erase these lines. I don't need that guy anymore either. What I have is I have the profile of that hole that we're going to punch through. And before I punch through, I'm going to take this shape and I'm going to grab it and I'm going to copy it out on the red axis, hold down the shift key, and I'm going to float over that wall. So I put that same shape on the wall just next to it. So you can see I have it on this component and it's flooding into all of the rest of them. So now we know we can do our push and pull, but instead of pushing out, we can push a hole back. And if we push a hole back to the back face, it'll just erase. So we'll double click here. We have that on the same side. So now if we leave that component, you can see now we have those pass-throughs on both sides. Now, we line up pretty close here on this side. We line up really close on this side. So we are going to just split the difference and call it even. We're making an approximation of this building. So let's go ahead and edit unhide last, and that should be all of our capitals, or I'm sorry, all of our columns. Now, all of our columns are just in this component for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to add them to all of our components, and we're going to do that by clicking them. Now I'm clicking these individually by holding down the shift key. I'm going to right click and say, I'm just going to do Control X, so cut. Now I'm going to go into the component. And when I go into the component, I'm going to say Edit, Paste in Place, which means it's going to put them in the exact same place in my model that I took them from. So it's going to paste them exactly where they were when I hit Cut. But because I pasted them inside the component, now they're inside all of my components. So we're doing well so far. The next thing I said we would do is we're going to pull all of these down so that they're not floating in the air. Let's go ahead and take this guy. Let's grab the bottom and pull it down. Let's pull it down to right about there. Oh, we can go far if we want, but that should be okay. Now let's come into our porch component and pull him down to there as well. Now we'll need to pull those steps out in a moment. I said we would do that, and I also said that we would go ahead and add the molding around the sides, but we're going to stop there and we'll come back to these moldings and pulling out these sidewalls of that porch in a moment. So I'll go ahead and take a break. You can try what we've done, or you can watch the video again. I'll leave that to you, but we'll be back in just a second.